Allow me to introduce myself. My name is... And I'm from the Department of...
So let me explain. Before I made this channel, I obviously had an account before this one. Had it for 18 years. And that one I used to mess around with. Whereas with this channel, I pretty much exclusively comment. Back to the commenters on my videos. I like to keep things compartmentalized. Anyway, so I left a couple comments on a terrible Critical Drinker hit piece.
Critical Drinker has made jokes about how wrong people are for implying that the movie Predator has themes about man's fear of female sexuality simply because the aliens' faces look like vaginas. Now there is some merit to that idea, but Drinker acts like the vagina mouth is all there is, and that it's a bit of a stretch. Oh man, there's probably a vaginal joke I could make out of that sentence. However, Predator is loaded with homoerotic imagery, dialogue, and core emotional responses to other men that all make the case for something more going on in the film sexually.
You're kidding!
And what do you know, the son of a bitch responded. And we got into it, and guess what? I kicked his ass. Don't believe me? He hid my comments like a pussy. Unfortunately, while no one else can see them, I still can. And guess what? I'm gonna read them. And you can judge for yourself. But trust me, it's good. Oh, also, I'm gonna censor my account name. Because I would still like to keep my account anonymous. But if Mark sees this and gets salty, and thinks he's gonna own me by revealing it, I'm not losing any sleep over it. Also, I'm gonna skip over the irrelevant comments.
This is where the fun begins.
The irony of Critical Drinker saying actors shouldn't be vocal on social media, only to glaze Gina Carano for her right opinions, isn't lost on me, and after criticizing her for not being a good actor before she got cancelled. Too bad it's lost on his fans though. The 4 stages of Gina Carano. No Disney at my agent. I will not take down my right-wing bigotry from social media. Fine, fire me. I'll go to Daily Wire. They'll treat me much No wait, Disney can't fire me. I'm suing. Look, Disney, please let me back into Star Wars. I don't like right-wing Hollywood. It smells here. Here
I come to wreck the day!
Do you think she should be fired? Have you seen what Pedro Pascal has written on Twitter? Don't you think that's hypocritical? One side being allowed to say much more and get away with much more than the other? Gee, that seems really fair. Your assumption of fair is supporting transgender youth. Should be met on the same level as complaining that conservatives are being prosecuted as Jews during the Holocaust. Sure, those are both seen as political opinions, but one is way worse than the other, and believing they're the same on the most surface level of blanketed topics is hugely disingenuous. Wow, you're not biased at all. You chose Gina's most controversial tweet, and a mild Pedro tweet. That being said, if you actually read the tweet for yourself, I mean actually take the time to look it up and read it, and not just repeat others' interpretations of it. Gina's tweet was clearly warning against rising political polarization and the demonization of people who are different from yourself. Compare that to Pedro's worst tweets. Multiple tweets denigrating Trump supporters, comparing them to Yahtzees. Please actually look them up, it's easy to find. And really curious you didn't answer if Gina should be fired or not. Pretty easy question, yet you avoided it. So I ask you again, do you think she deserved to be fired? Yes, Gina should have been fired. She was warned by Lucasfilm and her agent to stop making tweets like that, and she didn't listen. She was told what would happen and did it anyway. Did you actually read Gina's tweet for yourself right now? What did you have a problem with? Did you read Pedro's Trump tweets and you see no problem with them at all? So if Hollywood was run by conservatives and they fired Pedro, you wouldn't have had a problem with that? The equating of disagreeing with politics, akin to priming the pump for Yahtzees, is a very childish read in rising fascism. And no, I wouldn't be okay with Pascal being fired by conservatives because I think conservatives are idiots, with a putrid ideology that leans more towards fascism than leftism. Liberalism more so for leaving the door open for fascists instead of punching them. I'm not playing fence sitter here with you, champ.
Oh no! What do we do? I'm so scared!
That's your uncharitable read, and for that difference she deserves to be fired. Yet Pedro can call a large portion of the country Yahtzees, and that's fine and dandy with you. No hypocrisy detected. So it's okay for the left to fire people for making Yahtzee comparisons, even though Pedro again did that in a much more inflammatory way. But in the opposite case, that is wrong. Man, you're really consistent. Also, do you think actors should be fired for supporting Donald? If so, why not? Why are you saying Yahtzee? Just say Yahtzee. You're not monetizing your comments for advertising. advertisers. This coming from the guy that gets so butthurt he's about to hide my comments in a moment. If a Trump supporter is being obnoxious and creating an uncomfortable work environment by constantly ranting about how much they Trump's hideous rhetoric, then yes, fire them. I don't like it when my comments get hidden.
Think about the irony.
You've been warned.
Gotta let you think about the irony.
And writing on YouTube is like walking on eggshells. You're fine with Pedro calling half the country Yahtzees? I thought those types of comparisons were over the line. You think that's being consistent? Also, did you actually look up his tweets? Well, that's totally not extremely subjective. According to who? People like you? That's your problem. You're incredibly biased, and yet you call Drinker and his fans that. You're in a bubble.
Hi! It's my first day out in the world!
Yes, I'm biased towards conservatives, because my political values are left-leaning. Congrats for spotting the obvious. You want to bring your bias to the table as well? I said incredibly biased. Keyword incredibly. Don't act like you're only mildly left-leaning. You're the one that thinks Disney is in the right for firing Gina. Over a tweet even by your own reasoning isn't that bad, which again is extremely subjective. Also, you kind of put off the decision to Disney. What would you do if you were in charge? And it was strictly your call. Would you fire her for that tweet? And stop dodging questions. Are you fine with Pedro calling half the country Yahtzees? Are those types of comparisons over the line or not? Is that consistent? Do you even care about consistency? Wasn't his tweet just comparing kids in cages at the border to Yahtzee concentration camps? Or was there another tweet I missed? Also, Corona was being a bitch towards Pascal's family for mocking pronouns. Of trans family. Gross shit, deserve to be fired.
What? What an idiot! Oh, what a loser!
Wait, so let me get this straight. Calling half the country Yahtzees isn't a fireable offense. And yes, you did miss the one where you compared Donald supporters to the Yahtzees and the Confederates. What search engine are you using? That is worse than Gina putting beep bop boop in her bio? Are you joking right now? Please tell me you are. So you don't care about consistency and I called it. Your bias knows no bounds. And I wouldn't be surprised if you were a Vosh fan. At the very least Destiny. And the fact that you have the temerity to insult Drinker and call him a grifter is bananas. And the fact that this video has gained these views is bewildering. Also, who built those cages?
We did not.
They built the cages. Who built the cages, Joe?
Let's talk about what
who built the cages,
Let's
Joe?
talk about what we're talking about.
Trump supporters have enabled a fascist dictator who's actively ruining the country with Yahtzee rhetoric. Full stop. My goodness. Wow, that's some grade A cope right there. Beep bop boop is worse than calling your opponent Yahtzees habitually. And you wonder why your side is losing the culture war. Drinker is going to continue to get more popular, since he doesn't think the majority of the people are Yahtzees, unlike you. So he's appealing to a larger group than your side, and doesn't have contempt for them. That's kind of important if you want to win, which is why your video isn't convincing anybody, who already didn't like him anyway. Oh, and also, why'd you say Drinker? Took down the interview with the Mrs. Marvel directors. And then he hides my comments.
I just can't do it. I can't take this shit no more, man.
Because he knows he got bodied. And even though most of his comments are from people like him, giving him tongue baths, yet one lone commenter providing pushback, and he hides my comments, like a coward. And now for the best part. Look at what this piece of shit did in his horrendous hit piece. Trust me, it's good.
Getting back to Miss Marvel, the Critical Drinker actually interviewed the two directors of that series. If this seems odd to you, that he convinced the directors to come on his channel, they're basically fans of his, which is concerning, but another topic.
Wow, what a piece of shit. If I don't agree with you on wokeness, you imply they shouldn't be friends with people with different views and beliefs. How incredibly open-minded and mature you are. How is it inside your bubble? Is it comfy? And this is the dullard who said he made this video to persuade people to stop watching Drinker, because Drinker and his fans are toxic and bad for discourse.
Oh, sweet irony.
Now, surprisingly, Drinker actually keeps his interviewing rather professional here, free of getting angry and making mountains out of molehills. The same can't be said, however, for his audience. During this interview stream, a lot of chatters seemed to be angry that Drinker wasn't being nastier to these guys. They called the Critical Drinker a shill for actually being a decent human being with manners when interviewing somebody. They also decided to start just, making racist comments when the Critical Drinker wasn't unloading his usual dog whistles. The interview was eventually taken down by the Critical Drinker, and I have to imagine it wasn't just because his audience looked like a bunch of obnoxious 4chaners that were just spouting racial slurs.
And yet you show the chat and the only one that is racist is the third one. But honestly, I don't really know what that means. Which doesn't even matter anyway. Because if you build an audience of millions of people, guess what? There's gonna be bad apples. Pretty common sense stuff you would apply to you and people you like. However, if you disagree with someone, Bad Faith Andy comes in the clutch with the old guilty by association card. And what do you mean the interview is taken down? It's still up. I don't watch Drinker live, but I believe he either always or sometimes will have interviews live on his main channel, but then they'll end up on his second channel, where there it is, he didn't take it down. But it gets worse. If you look at the comments on the video, there's a lot of positivity. It's almost like you're a fucking liar, implying that a large portion of the audience was toxic towards the directors.
It's also because that interview reveals just how much of a grifter that the Critical Drinker is to his audience. Like, sure, he'll go on his tirades and rants about how modern movies are ruined by these modern filmmakers, but once he actually manages to get those filmmakers onto his YouTube channel, he transforms into a decent human being who wants to interview them. And look, Critical Drinker, I get it. I get, changing your demeanor when you're interviewing somebody. I myself have interviewed celebrities who have been involved with movies and TV shows that I do not like. But when I'm interviewing these celebrities, I am able to be nice because these are people who took some time out of their day to talk about a piece of art that they want to promote. And while I do change my demeanor for these interviews, it doesn't come off that fake, and that's mostly because I don't spend most of my time condemning modern media and all the people involved with it, so that when I do interview these people, it makes it seem like I come off as a phony or a grifter.
When I look at Bad Boys for Life, it feels like we really don't get movies like that anymore. Like, watching it, I was like, it feels like I've gone back in time by 10, 15 years, back to the days of like Bad Boys 2 or those sort of Michael Bay, Jerry Bruckheimer action movies. You really captured the tone and all of that just perfectly in the cinematography. And I think it was just, it was just a refreshing movie almost at this point, because like so many action movies that I watch now, they're just like toned down. They're very like constrained. They make such heavy use of CGI. They're very PC and very safe. And this one was just it was a nice throwback to a different era in action films, and I've really missed it. It was great to see that.
The Critical Drinker is learning the hard way that if you spend all your time making mindless rants about condemning modern media and lacing them with dog whistles, you're going to attract a toxic crowd. And they will turn on you if you don't keep serving up that cynical slop that they've come to expect. It's kind of scary that all those racists were in his chat there, because I get the feeling that the Critical Drinker doesn't realize the audience that he's cultivated. I mean, I'm hoping that he doesn't, because if he does, that's not good.
He doesn't condemn all of modern media. Obviously, he's given positive reviews. And the reason why he was so nice, besides the fucking obvious of having manners, but it's because these directors directed Bad Boys Ride or Die. Gee, I wonder why you left out that bit of information. And act like they were just there to talk about Miss Marvel.
You fucking liar.
He's lying. I knew you were lying.
You're just a liar.
You lying snake!
He would like to confuse us.
Stretching the truth.
You've been lying.
Maybe that's why he didn't insult them. He actually liked Bad Boys 3. What a fucking joke. God, I really hope this clown sees this video. And hopefully he's not gonna be a bitch and try to copyright strike or block this video, since he's such a fan of censoring people he disagrees with. But let's just see what happens.
Please go away. Let me sleep for the love of God!